Hey there, how's it going? A little over a month ago, I made a game and devlog for round 1 of the Ultimate Game Jam. If you haven't seen the video, I would suggest checking it out before this one, as this round builds off the same game I made last time. Some quick updates and clarifications to the rules I laid out in the last video. The jam is still 3 rounds. The first round, as we saw, was 7 days with the theme of decay. However, rounds 2 and 3 are 4 days each and add mechanic concepts to the game made in round 1. Once again, contestants were allowed to choose 4 consecutive days within a window to create their game. I chose April 21st through the 24th. Before we jump into the new mechanic, let's get some reference and take a look at what we're starting with. Tread Carefully is a top-down action shooter where you play as a sorcerer. You enter the dying wizard's decaying ethereal realm, with the goal of defeating the ancient warlock once and for all. Open chests containing mysterious potions that will boost one of your stats. Search the level to find and destroy the energy orbs. All while fighting past the wizard's minions to locate the ladder to the next floor. Once you reach the top, you must face the dying wizard himself. Defeating him will grant you the ultimate prize. Your world fades to black and nothing happens because I didn't set the triggers, dang it! In all seriousness, the game is alright, but it's way too hard. And that whole unwinnable thing kinda sucks. I was never able to nail down what I was making in round 1. In the end, I put the pieces I made into the best game that I could, and I really wasn't happy with the outcome. So I'm excited and nervous about round 2. I'm excited that I get another crack at the game, aside from just fixing the major bugs. I want to overhaul the whole game loop for the most part, but I only have 4 days, and in that time I also need to add whatever the new mechanic is. Plus, there's real life and other responsibilities also. It's going to be tight, so let's see how it goes. We're given the theme at midnight our time on our start date. Last time I waited up and was able to start playing around with the ideas right away, but this time I had an appointment early the next morning, which meant I had to go to sleep. So I didn't get to see the new mechanic until I woke up. And what new challenge awaited me the next morning? Money. I had been wondering what mechanic/theme the hosts would come up with that could fit into any game, and I have to say, money's a pretty good one. Well done, Metabulous and Zyger. I didn't have to think very hard about what I was going to do with it either. I already didn't like the stat system I had. Picking up a potion and getting one of 7 random stats just didn't feel very fun to me. Some, like the bullet size, incremented so little that it was really hard to tell that the potion did anything. That's why I added this menu along the side so that you would know something is actually happening and your stats were going up. But let's be frank, in a game like this, if you have to look at the menu to know that you're getting stronger, then the buff really isn't fun enough in my opinion. But I could easily add a coin pickup and make the potions cost money. This would allow me to make the buffs more effective because I no longer had to worry about the player getting multiple of the same one. So great, I have a plan. Now I need to figure out when I'm going to work on the game. As strange as this sounds, my life has become much more busy since the shelter-in-place order started. I just always seem to have several projects or obligations overlapping at the same time. And today I already had a schedule to be streaming on Twitch, which wouldn't really be a problem except that all the contestants don't know the new mechanic yet, so I can't say what it is or really work on it while I'm streaming. I hate to say good thing there are so many other broken issues in the game, but I had plenty to fix without revealing the mechanics, so I guess I got that going for me. This was also the first time that I had looked at the codes since submitting the game. In the spirit of the competition, I hadn't touched it since we ended, so it's been well over a month. Remember in the first round how I crammed so much work into the last day? Yeah, that was really apparent when I got into the project and it looked like the scribblings of a madman. I don't know what I was doing at the end of this jam. I was so just out of my mind just trying to finish stuff and not thinking straight. This is like a bad archaeological dig where we're going through like, let's see how crazy I was at this time. So I just grit my teeth and I started with the obvious. Why does the game not finish when defeating the boss? Turns out, in some of the final panic, I had deleted the level transition function I was using and made a new one. I set it up just fine for the levels, but for both the boss level and the win screen, I completely forgot to add it, so there's no call when you finish the level. So even if somehow you could get past the boss to the win screen, you still would have been stuck. The game was just determined to softlock itself, I guess. It was a fairly quick first fix, and now the game can be completed. Excellent. After a couple other small tweaks involving the audio and the You Died screen, it was time to start really digging into the delicious spaghetti code that I wrote. Of course, since I'm changing potions, I need to change the way stats work. And by that, I mean removing all of them and starting fresh with new basic stats. I immediately went in and cut the ones that I didn't think I'd be continuing with. Shot distance, fire rate, spell size, and movement speed. And because I pulled all that, I also had to rewrite the whole player shooting mechanics, which amazingly worked perfect the first time. I don't know what you're talking about, stop showing that. I did eventually get it working right, but that's about the end of what I got done on the stream. Later that night, I was able to spend a little bit more time rewriting how the pickups worked and adding in the money mechanic. My thought was that I was going to go for a Legend of Zelda or Binding of Isaac style shop. The item is on the floor and it shows what it costs. You just need to walk over it to buy it, provided you have enough money, of course. I changed the potion to now just be a health pickup, and I added in a placeholder object coin. Other than that, it just took adding a global variable to keep track of the money you picked up. New mechanic in? Check. That was easy. Now I just need to design the rest of the game. Piece of cake. But that's where I had to call it for the night, so that's all I got done this day. The next day, due to real life and other adulting obligations, I didn't get the chance to work on the game. It's fine. 3 days is plenty of time. The money's already in. I just need to fix the enemies and redesign the levels. How long can that take? Thursday, I was able to sit down and make some progress. With the help of Twitch chat, we changed the basic coins I was originally planning into much more thematically appropriate crystal shards. These would also be your score at the end of the game, so the more you buy during the gameplay, the lower your final score will be. I wanted the player to be able to walk over the shard or shoot it to collect it, which resulted in a lot more bug fixing than I wanted, because I kept finding ways to get double money by firing and picking it up at the same time. After more time than I would have liked, I eventually got it working and added in some particles to make it feel better. With that seemingly working for the moment, it's time to turn our attention to the problem child for this round. The enemies. The code I wrote for them just wasn't working. I'm not great at creating enemies more complicated than moved back and forth. I usually avoid it because it just hasn't quite clicked for me. I feel like every time I try, I'm good for about 60 to 70% of the way through. Then at some point, everything just stops working reliably or the way I was expecting. The rest of the stream and my time to work on the game that day ended with the enemies still not working, unfortunately. Friday, I was streaming once again, and the first thing I did was try to get the enemies sorted out. They, however, had other plans. After an hour and a half, I had to call it quits on the enemies, because I still hadn't made any progress. I honestly still have no idea what was happening with them. There was code written to tell them to do stuff, and they just weren't doing it. Or they were doing something that it told them not to do. I don't know. Again, I'm not the best at these, so I'm pretty sure I just had it written in a really bad way, but man, was it frustrating. There was still a lot I needed to do, and continuing to fight with these guys was just getting me nowhere. So I made it Future Me's problem and set to work redesigning levels. I also added a respawn system, so that way if you die, you go back to the start of the level as opposed to the start of the entire run. The first round was way too hard, and because of the random stats, it was just easier for me to reset the run. But that was super punishing to the player, and I never liked the fact that that's how it worked out in the end. As I mentioned in the round 1 video, I was going for a roguelike for some reason, and I just wanted to have a big explorable level that would be somewhat different every time. The problem is that there isn't really enough variation for that to be very interesting. One side of the map looked pretty similar to the other side of the map, which made it hard to know where you were in relation to everything else. And also, when one misstep can end your entire run, making the player wander around just increased the chance of frustration, and possible rage if you just moved wrong. It took a while, but by the end of the stream we had 5 brand new levels emphasizing movement. The whole time I was placing enemies in the level as if they worked, and once again, that's Future Me problem. I still have until midnight, so after the stream I added another level, and then I realized, oh no, I'm now Future Me. What ensued was many curse words, 1 or 2 tantrums, and a full meltdown with accepting that I wasn't going to get the game to work and I should just quit. I kept telling myself I might as well give up now, turn off the recording, and call it a day. But I couldn't leave it at that, of course. I had to try, and I at least wanted to submit something. Finally, around 9:45, I got the enemies working enough. Now, with only a couple hours left, I had to get everything else tightened up as well. I'd been avoiding issues with Z-ordering for the tiles for a while now, especially on the walls. And since I was running out of time, I just chopped them down and hoped no one would notice if they looked a little weird. I had to do a bit of UI cleanup, this was a mess, and then I added another potion you could purchase. I would have loved to add in more, but it's already 10:30 and I don't even have a working boss anymore. The new potion is a strength up and increases your spell damage permanently by 1. In the level design, every level past level 3 gets a health potion and a strength potion at the beginning that you can purchase, and the strength potion is super OP right now. But I'm okay with that, it's kind of my apology for the first round being so hard. 15 minutes later, and it's working. Now I have to make a final boss, and oh sweet RNGeebus, I'm running out of time. I ended up just reusing all of the code from the flying shooting enemy and applying it to the boss. So 15 minutes later, it was there and somewhat working. It's not nearly as good as it was in round 1. He unfortunately now only flies and shoots at you. Why didn't I just use the same AI from the first round, you might ask? Because I broke it all so bad at one point that I got frustrated and deleted and rewrote everything. A couple of times. Also, panic. At this stage, panic just makes you do things whether it's the best idea or not. You just start doing things and hope it works out. With an hour left, I added the final shard count to the win screen, updated the how to play screen, added the names of my game supporter Patreons to the menu, and added in a crosshair that I copied the style of from a Game Jam game I made a couple days earlier. One last touch to update the story at the start of the game to reflect that the shards now exist, and a couple of times of re-exporting the project because I kept having to go back and fix some stuff that I forgot. I finally got the game uploaded to itch and posted on Discord. I don't know how I managed to cut it so close again. With the way that the enemies behaved, I really just want to say that this project is cursed. I'm really glad I got it finished and was able to submit. The game is a lot more fun to play through now, giving the player more direction and a lot less punishment. Also, if you pick up all the power-ups, the boss dies really fast and easy, but you get less of a score. And I'd rather have it be too easy than too hard. I'm going to say that it fits in with the canon that the wizard is dying. Yeah, that's it. We're going for the narrative. In the end, I'm much happier with the game after round 2. And apparently, I did enough to keep the number 2 spot in judging. This round only has 2 contestants moving to the final round, so I just made it. Congratulations to Yannick for taking the top spot once again. His game really is fun and cute. The final round is happening much sooner than the second did after the first. It's actually already started for me while I'm making this video. So, congratulations to all the competitors for submitting their games. So wish me luck in round 3. Fingers crossed that I can add the new mechanic and bump up the fun level to hopefully beat Yannick in the final round. If you would like to play either version of this game, the links are down in the description. Both pages require a password that's UGJ, all in capitals, no space. After round 3, I will post the final version on my itch page, but keep round 1 and 2 available, so people can see the progress if they want. I would like to say an extra special thank you to my awesome video producer Patreons for their support. If you want to see your name here and get access to all of my videos before anyone else, the link is in the description. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you are healthy and safe wherever you are. If you want to get in contact with me, the best way is to join me and a bunch of other cool people over on the Discord. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will talk with you next time. Have a good one. Later.